It was raining on the night of September 10, 2014. Kevin Carr Jr. stepped out of his mother's car on Bloom Street in central Toledo. He turned left on Holly, and then he disappeared. For the next 2 months, his family and the community searched, hoping against hope. But on the afternoon of November 15, 2014, his body was discovered.
There was a farmer who was farming his field, western Lucas County, Swanton Township. When he gets done, he notices that activity in the hole and goes over and checks it, and he sees what he believes to be skeletal remains.
His phone kept going, it just kept ringing, and I'm asking, like, who continues to call back? Like, what do they want? They obviously want something. Why are you not answering the phone?
6 years later, Carr's fiancé, Lee, remembers the details vividly.
He was like, because they want me to meet up with them, but I really don't feel like going.
Now, if we knew who was on the other end of that conversation, we would probably not be telling you this story. We would know why Kevin jumped into his mother's car sometime later that night to go meet the caller. There would be no mystery. We would know why he died. But investigators have not been able to find Carr's burner phone. They received a tip. It was in the Scott Park pond.
We had actually made arrangements to go in there and get that phone, but we were unable to get clearance to send divers into that because of the bacteria content.
The case has frustrated investigators, leads, but not enough evidence. But Kevin's fiancée says she knows who's behind the killing.
No, I know who killed him. Everybody knows. The police knows. They all know.
Knowing and proving are two very different things. 11 Investigates is not naming the men Lee believes are behind the killing because they have not been charged. But it's clear through interviews and his own record that Carr's world involved dealings with bad, violent men, a group involved in burglaries and selling of stolen property.
Everybody have a history. Everybody got skeletons. But people can change. People can change, and things can make you change. I honestly believe him having his baby made him change his life.
His change, according to his family, was his son, Sir Pharaoh, who was just 9 months old when Kevin disappeared. In July, the family had an eviction notice stuck to their door. Kevin agreed to return to his past life to raise money for rent, agreeing to pull a job at a warehouse filled with drugs and guns on Hamilton Avenue.
Because I went out of town to go visit my brother at Ohio University. And then when I came home on Sunday, that's when you seen like the bricks of cocaine, and it was on the table.
Lee says Kevin didn't keep the cocaine or the guns, but he did keep the weed, and he sold it, a move that she says angered the others in the group, a group that wanted to keep the details of the warehouse robbery and the stolen items off the streets of inner city Toledo.
I think the information started to get on the street as to what happened and who committed it, and I think people got scared.
And 2 months later, Kevin was dead. His body found in a shallow grave in western Lucas County.
I know that somebody knows who killed Kevin Carr. We know that there was more than likely more than one person involved or there at the time that Kevin Carr died.
During our investigation of this case, we discovered that on the day of his disappearance, Kevin was using a burner phone. But there was a second phone, a phone provided by Lee's mother for Kevin to use while he was with his son.
He needed to have a phone that was always going to work in case something happened. He needs to be able to call.
Lee says the phone had messages between members of the criminal group, some who, she says, told police that they did not know Kevin, but she saw their conversations.
But when it all came out, that's when I'm like, I know that conversation was in the phone, because I seen it. That shows that they know each other.
The iPhone is password protected and locked, but it is possible for investigative agencies to subpoena phone companies to get actual text messages. After 11 Investigates mentioned the possibility of the phone having key evidence, The sheriff's department confirmed that they are now seeking a subpoena. It could be key evidence that they need to not only connect the dots, but to secure a conviction to bring closure to a family and future answers to a son who will never know his father.
That was my baby. He was a sweet kid. He loved his family. But at the end of the day, you don't want to come forward and say you did it, or somebody don't want to come forward and say somebody else did it. God got the final say. Because what you reap, you will sow.